In this video, we will discuss one of the most important leadership lessons at sea. What makes crew members genuinely respect an officer? Every officer wears a golden stripes. Every officer has authority. But not every officer earns respect. The difference between respect just to comply and genuine respect can determine the effectiveness, safety, and morale of an entire shipboard team. Respect is earned, not given. When a cadet or a rating is promoted to officer, for example, an AB becoming a third officer or an oiler becoming a fourth engineer, authority comes automatically with the position. Crew members are expected to follow instruction because of the chain of command. But true leadership goes beyond authority. The crew may obey an officer because they have to, but they respect an officer because they chose to. And respect is not something we can demand. It is earned every day through our actions. Crew members watch how we behave on board. They observe our professionalism, how we treat people, and how we respond during difficult situations. Most importantly, they watch whether our actions are aligned with our words. Over time, respect is built through consistency, integrity, and the example we set for others. Competence creates credibility. One of the fastest ways to earn respect on board is through competence. Crew members observe everything. I remember when I joined a vessel as a chief officer, there was a bosun who had a reputation for being difficult to work with. Many people describe him as disrespectful, both to officers and to some members of the deck crew. Just 3 days after joining the vessel, while we were on the dry dock, I witnessed him shouting at an ordinary seaman who had just completed the midnight to 6 a.m. watch. And after the incident, I asked the bosun to speak with me privately. I explained that I was not comfortable with the way he had treated the OS. Rather than criticizing him, I shared my expectations, my leadership philosophy, and the kind of working environment I wanted us to create on board. Honestly, I wasn't expecting him to immediately agree with me or even change his behavior. But as the months passed by, we developed a very professional working relationship. In fact, before he signed off, he personally came to see me and say goodbye. That experience taught me something important. People don't always respond to authority, but they often respond to professionalism, consistency, and respect. Leadership by example. Crew members do not judge officers solely by their words. They judge them by their actions. For example, imagine a master who implements a strict policy prohibiting the use of mobile phone on the bridge, but he himself continues using his mobile phone during maneuvering. The message becomes very clear. If the leader does not follow the rule, why should anyone else? An officer who talks about safety but ignores procedures immediately loses credibility. Leadership on board is highly visible. If we expect discipline from others, we must first demonstrate discipline ourselves. People follow examples far more willingly than instructions. Fairness builds respect. One of the most strongest foundation of respect is fairness. Crew members quickly notice when rules are applied differently to different people. I remember sailing with a master who once instructed a cook not to allow crew members of specific nationality to enter the galley. When I heard those words, I immediately lost a great deal of respect for him. Not because of his rank or competence, but because leadership should never be influenced by nationality or prejudice. That experience reminded me that fairness matters deeply on board. A respected officer treats everyone professionally, regardless of nationality, rank, age, sex, religion, or experience. Fairness sends a simple message. everyone deserves equal respect. Communication builds trust. Many shipboard problems begin with poor communications. I remember a second officer who frequently corrected an AB for sitting near the gangway during his watch. The issue itself was minor. The real problem was how the message was delivered. Because neither side communicated effectively, the situation escalated to the point where they almost had a physical confrontation. Even after months of sailing together, their relationships never fully recovered. That experience taught me that communication is not just about speaking. It is about making sure the message is understood and delivered respectfully. A good officer explains expectations. A great officer ensures that people understand them. Calmness during pressure. Leadership is truly tested during difficult situations. Anyone can appear confident when everything is going according to plan. The real test comes when things go wrong. I remember sailing with a very experienced master whom I admired greatly. What impressed me most was not his technical knowledge. It was his calmness. No matter how challenging the situations became, I never saw him panic, I never saw him complain or raise his voice unnecessarily. He remained focused on the solution. His calmness influenced everyone around him because just as panic spreads quickly on board, confidence spreads quickly as well. Humility and learning. Some officers believe leadership means always having the answers. In reality, respected leaders are willing to learn. I have worked with oilers who possess more practical machinery knowledge than junior engineers. I have worked with bosuns whose deck experience could solve problems than younger officers struggled with. One incident that stayed with me involved an AB who had previously been under my mentorship. One evening, a bridge alarm activated and the second officer on watch was having difficulty identifying the source. The AB made suggestions that could have helped. Instead of listening, the second officer responded, "Why should I listen to you? You're just an AB." That response ended any opportunity to learn. Leadership is not about knowing everything. Leadership is about being willing to learn from anyone. Experience does not always come with rank. Sometimes the best ideas come from the people we least expect. Caring for people. Respect depends when crew members feel valued as human beings. Leadership is not only about operations, schedules, and checklists. It is also about people. Simple actions can have powerful impact. Checking on a crew member who seems tired, recognizing someone's hard work, thanking the crew after a successful PEC inspections or class survey, offering support when someone is facing personal challenges. People often forget instructions, but they rarely forget how they were treated. Let's talk about consistency. Respect is not built in a single day. It is built through consistency. Since becoming a chief officer and now serving as a master, I have always made it a point to conduct a meeting during my first week on board. During that meeting, I clearly explained my expectation and just as importantly, what the crew can expect from me. I want people to know who I am, how I lead, and the standards that I try to maintain. Consistency creates predictability, and predictability creates trust, and trust eventually becomes respect. And our final lesson, people may respect you because of your rank, but rank alone is the lowest form of leadership. The strongest form of leadership is built on trust, respect, and influence. The crew may respect your golden stripes when you first steps on board, but they will respect your character for the rest of the voyage.